When we talk about cats, and we name those calling cards, those signatures, I have a feeling that it wouldn't take any of us very long before the cold wet nose would enter the chat. Your cat and that cold wet nose. Most of us not only view it as a calling card, but a sign of positive health for your feline. And as for that dry nose, the stereotype or that common notable that a dry nose is a sign of an illness, well, that conversation has also entered the room. But is it true? Does that dry nose always mean sickness? Are there other reasons for the dry nose? Is it possible for a cat to have a dry and rough nose and be just fine? In this material, we'll talk about the potential causes for that dry feline nose and when you should be proactive as an owner and the steps that you can take to return your cat's nose to something that more resembles what you've likely come to know and love. That dry nose and where it comes from. Interesting topic, and I've got you covered. Stay tuned. Generally speaking, your cat's moist and cold nose is a good sign, a sign of positive health. When we talk about what defines normal for your cat, we're mainly talking about proper hydration, humid air within your cat's environment, the regulation of your pet's body temperature. All of these factors contribute to your pet's cold, wet nose. Drinking from the water bowl, the licking of the nose, even what we would call a sweaty nose. By and large, if your cat has a moist nose, not to be confused with a runny nose, then your pet is doing all right. However, if your cat's nose is dry to the touch, and it's not a one-off, but rather several days in a row, this could be a sign that your cat is unwell, at least for the time. While not always an internal health issue, perpetual dry nose should never be ignored. When we talk about the reasons for your cat's dry nose, it's important to begin with your cat's environment, and this is one of the most common factors that can contribute to dry nose. The first question is, what's changed? Has there been a change in the environment? Have the seasons changed? Is the air far less humid and now much drier? If the winter months are upon you and there is a decrease in humidity within the home, this could be the reason for your cat's dry nose issue. The less moisture in the environment, the drier the living conditions do become. The solution here is moisture, adding moisture to the environment either via something such as a humidifier or by simply encouraging your cat to consume more liquids, either in the form of fresh water or the juices and gravies within their fresh, wet cat food. For the very same reasons that many of us turn to more lotions during the winter months in order to keep skin moisturized during those harsh conditions, your cat also needs moisture in order to stay hydrated and avoid what amounts to routine dry nose. And somewhat naturally, that leads us into our next potential reason for dry nose and a point of concern, and that's dehydration. Having the environment rather humid, that's just not enough if your cat isn't consuming enough fluids. If your cat is consuming routine meals of dry food and not consuming near enough water, it won't be long before dehydration sets in. Is your cat lethargic, not enthused by a playtime session? Are they looking for more reasons to rest and relax? This could be due to a lack of much-needed consumption. Regardless of the season and the conditions within your home as those seasons do change, always make sure that your pet is consuming fresh water and those juices and gravies from wet cat food on a daily and routine basis. Dehydration, from that human perspective, we know this can be quite serious if left untreated. If you have any questions, be sure to contact your vet, especially if your pet is in a state where they are refusing to consume fresh water and other cat-friendly liquids. Moving on, does your cat feel warm to the touch, almost hot to the touch, far more than normal? Are your cat's ears very warm? In this instance, your cat's dry nose could be due to an illness that is unfortunately promoting a fever. If your pet feels lethargic but yet very warm to the touch in addition to that dry nose, this likely means that your cat is dealing with illness, perhaps some type of infection or an autoimmune disease. Unlike what we've mentioned thus far, this example will require professional care as it goes beyond the environment or dehydration as standalone causes. With respect to those causes, concerns that could be promoting a fever and dry nose, your cat could have an upper respiratory infection. Unfortunately, these are very common, with a dry nose or rather rough nose to the touch being just one of the symptoms. Look for coughing, hacking, watery eyes, lethargy, and a general loss of appetite. And what about allergies? We touched on the environment a bit earlier, and we noted the importance of wet food, but what if the food is to blame? What if there's something in the environment that is acting as an irritant? Did that spray, designed to keep the house smelling good, did it have an adverse effect on your pet? Allergies, they can be born from numerous causes. Is your cat sneezing? Do they seem rather uncomfortable? Your cat's dry nose could be from an allergy that is yet to be diagnosed. Once again, please take your cat to the vet if you are indeed concerned about your pet's current health status. Cats are active and cats are certainly curious, and this is why it's certainly not out of the question that your cat's dry nose, depending on their overall status of health and what they're allowed to do, could be the result of an injury. If your cat took a bump to the nose, that area could feel dry to the touch, not to mention a bit flaky in spots, with perhaps a minor cut healing and becoming a bit crusty to the fingers. Examine your cat's face, because if some degree of trauma is responsible, there's a chance that you will uncover other nicks to the mouth or the face. Sometimes cat will lead with their face, whether in times of play or times of defense. Make sure your cat's dry nose isn't the aftermath of a minor injury. And finally, as for the possible causes, let's breathe that sigh of relief and mention that your cat's dry nose could be nothing at all, or just nothing more than just daily living. Did your cat sleep for a long time? Were they outside in low humidity? Were they outside in dry and hot conditions? Various times of the day, for more common reasons, your cat could be just a bit dry in general, long periods without hydration, simply because they were asleep or out and about on a brand new adventure. This is why I noted earlier about the day after day dry nose and to be concerned, because if your pet's dry nose is simply at a given moment, that's really not a cause for concern. That cold, wet nose, it won't always be that way, but just because it won't be doesn't mean that something is indeed wrong. Sometimes your cat's movements, normal action, and day-to-day life will cause that nose to be a bit dry. You could return some 15 minutes later and feel that cold, wet nose once again. For as much as a perpetual dry nose could be a sign of something negative, the short term, that one-off, it could just be a sign that your cat is living life, and that all is truly well. Just to summarize, primarily for times when a call to action could be very much warranted, here again, if that dry nose does seem to be a bit perpetual, take action. Your cat's nose has been dry for a week and hydration just is not helping. Seek professional care for your pet, especially if the dryness is now promoting cracking of the skin and cracking of the nose. The same is indeed true for a dry nose that is accompanied by what feels like a fever and viewed as lethargic, lack of eating, lack of drinking, sneezing, coughing. All of these are red flags and a call to action. When your cat is dealing with dry nose and dry nose alone without other symptoms or concerns, the objective is to increase moisture levels in the home, rid the environment of that dry and problematic air. Always encourage your pet to consume fresh water and eat fresh food. Consumption of liquids and gravies are essential when it comes to making sure that your cat does, in fact, stay hydrated. The take-home lesson here today is that dry nose will happen, but it's that constant dry nose that does deserve your attention. And with that attention, it's essential to find the core cause behind it. Never chalk it up to simply the environment, especially if proper hydration measures have failed to improve the situation. Just be mindful and stay alert. Be proactive if you feel there is a legitimate concern. To the audience of Senior Cat Wellness, what are your thoughts on this topic? Has your cat ever dealt with dry nose? And was it a symptom of something quite concerning, something more than just the dry air? Your stories, general thoughts on the subject matter? At comment section, as always, it's all yours. And if you enjoyed this topic, please give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you as a member of the Senior Cat Wellness family. And until next time, thank you so very much for watching, and I will talk to you later.